What can I get for you?
Can I get the Grimace birthday meal?
Thank you.
Pristine. Hey everyone, I'm back. How are comic book movies doing? Oh my goodness, what happened? Man, if it weren't for Guardians 3 and Across the Spider-Verse, these kind of movies would be toast. So anyways, The Flash. I was debating even seeing this because, on one hand, Michael Keaton, one of my favorite actors of all time, and on the other hand, Ezra Miller, who has had several assault charges and several alarming problems, including a possible kidnapping of a minor? What? So, against my better judgment, Michael Keaton won, and I saw the movie. And oh man, this movie should really be called Flash the Video Game. I mean, sometimes I feel like people are exaggerating when they say video game graphics, but oh man, not a hyperbole. I would say 50% of this movie is video game graphic level. Anytime the Flash moves, video game graphics, especially in the slow-mo scenes. And gosh, it's even worse when they use someone's actual face on a video game model body. So yeah, the CGI video game graphics, easily the worst part about this movie, obviously besides Ezra Miller. And Ezra Miller, by the way, was like, fine. Nothing memorable about their performance as either of the Flashes. They did serviceable for the decent one or two emotional scenes about Barry and his parents, but other than that, meh. I prefer Grant Gustin, and I'm not even in love with Grant Gustin's portrayal either. I think we just need to skip Barry Allen and go straight to the animated Justice League's Wally West. I mean, that is where Flash peaked as a character. There are a couple of interesting ideas done with the Flash in this movie, mostly with perspective and explaining how the powers would work consequentially, but also several weird-ass choices, particularly with the Speed Force, that I did not enjoy. Also, of course, time travel is present in this movie, and with that, there's a shit ton of baggage of plot holes and exposition, and it is kind of explained. Like, they have one scene that kind of explains it, but to be honest, you mostly just have to go along with it. The other characters were honestly disappointing to straight up bad. Michael Shannon Azad phoned it in, and I do not blame him. CGI Batfleck feels like a fever dream at the beginning. Sasha's Supergirl doesn't have time to do anything interesting, and what's given seems like it's either missing scenes or is just edited poorly. And by the way, yeah, the editing is a little wonky too, especially at the beginning and end of this movie. Lastly, there's Michael Keaton, and when he's on screen, it is a pretty good time. Of course, usually instead of him being on screen, there's this weird physics-defying video game model Batman on screen. But you can tell that Michael Keaton was really excited to get back in the suit, and the nostalgia still hits when you hear that theme. Although I can't help but feel that he was still wasted and wasn't given a proper story in this movie. And the story just overall is like, what the fuck? It tries to build stakes, but ends up making everything feel pointless in the end. Like I said earlier, some of the familial stuff with Barry does land, but it's not nearly enough to save what's left of this movie. And also, I feel like Flash Season 1 dealt with these themes a bit better. It also is trying to do Flashpoint, and in my opinion, fails. If you want to watch a good Flashpoint, go and watch the animated version. That movie's got a much more hard-hitting story and even harder-hitting emotional moments. Except it does have weirdly proportioned characters. Why does he look like that? This movie really is like what Disney is doing to their animated movies. They make a terrible CGI fest that sucks the heart out of the superior animated version. I feel like they were really leaning hard on the comedy, and I'd say only one scene was legitimately very funny. Everything else, straight-faced. Also, you've probably heard there are a lot of cameos in here, and yeah, there are. Ghoulish-looking cameos that serve no point other than to assault your eyes and disgrace whoever is being portrayed by their CG counterpart. I feel like the cameos in this movie is what people wanted to have in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and thank God that didn't happen. This movie just misses the mark for me on so many levels. I mean, I enjoyed it even less than Shazam 2. At least Shazam 2 was quick and mostly painless. This one just sucks to see one of my favorite DC characters' first feature films stumble and trip across the finish line. This movie seems to have been cursed from the beginning, though. Getting delayed several times, many of the production crew being swapped out or dropping out, all the Ezra Miller stuff happening, the whole new DC takeover happening, this movie was just always cursed to do poorly. A theme in this movie, funnily enough, is that sometimes you just have to let go. And WB really should have done that with this movie, because I've never seen a company try to sell a movie more than The Flash. Seriously, their marketing budget was like $100 million, and the ads I've seen of this movie heavily rely on Twitter user reviews or celebrity endorsement, but even with those, it's still going to come to light how wonky this movie is. They also talk about in the movie that things are just meant to happen sometimes, no matter what timeline or universe. It seems like the canon event was that The Flash was gonna bomb, and for me, it definitely did. But hey, maybe DC's not completely done yet. I feel like I've been saying that for the past 5 years, but I mean, Blue Beetle's coming out, and for some reason, I am excited for it. Like, I don't think anything I've seen has impressed me, but I don't know, I'm just excited to see Zolo suit up as Jaime, I guess. And I like that one line at the end of the trailer that George Lopez says.
Batman's a fascist!
Anyways, I'm going to talk a little bit about spoilers before I wrap up this review. Skip to this time code if you want to avoid them. Spoiler grimace. George Clooney and Nicolas Cage. That's it. That's all the spoilers I had. No, okay. Can I just talk about how anticlimactic the Keaton Batman send-off was? Like, he dies twice. The first time it's kind of like a joke, and then the second time he just is like, I'm tired. I'm dead. And then the only joke that was legitimately funny was when younger Barry turns to older Barry in the bat suit, and because those suits aren't meant for head turning, his face just kind of bends the suit all weird. And let me go back to the George Clooney thing. Were we supposed to think that he's going to be the Batman of this new DC universe? Like, is he the Batman for the upcoming Brave and the Bold movie? And is Ezra Miller staying as the Flash? I don't know. This just kind of causes more issues to whether or not this is an actual reset or not. Just confusing to me. And I also find it funny that George Clooney decided to come back for this movie only to be in another shitty DC movie after Batman and Robin. Although that movie was at least so bad that it's hilarious. So I guess he'll be paying for people's refunds for this movie too. Some pretty ironic jokes in this movie. Like at the beginning, Barry talks about how people should seek therapy, or, the whole baby in a microwave bit. Just classic Ezra Miller shenanigans. Did not like this movie. Had some good ideas and decent emotional beats, but it was heavily outweighed by the bad ideas and distracting CGI. So I'm going to put it here on my movie and TV show tier list. Pretty bad. And I guess the director is going to direct the new Batman movie, which is a little concerning to me. But like I said, there were some interesting ideas that just didn't work, so maybe something good could come out of him. But to quote Michael Keaton in this movie, seems like a crapshoot. Okay, Algae Rhythm says to like, comment, and subscribe. And now Pete, send these peeps down to the end screen.